On July 20th, students attempting to march toward Parliament in Delhi were met with yellow barricades and high-pressure water cannons. To halt the march, police deployed tear gas and struck protesters with lathis, leading to injuries across the crowd as the demonstration was forcibly dispersed. This escalation ended a 35-day streak of nonviolence. These students had maintained a strictly peaceful sit-in under the trees at Jantar Mantar. They were there to demand a transparent investigation into the NEET UG medical exams, citing specific irregularities and an alleged paper leak scam. The state responded by deploying the Rapid Action Force in heavy riot gear, with reports emerging that pellet guns were used to drive back marchers. A civic demand for transparency had met the full physical force of the law, creating a direct conflict between the government's mandate for order and the constitutional right to dissent. Within 48 hours of the clash, senior advocates moved to the highest legal authority in the country to seek accountability. They requested an urgent hearing, bringing viral videos of the police action as evidence of what they called a barbaric use of force against students. However, the bench, led by Chief Justice Surya Kant, initially dismissed the request. He stated the court had no time to watch videos and refused to list the matter for a hearing. That dismissal triggered a wave of public criticism. The response created a perception that the judiciary was choosing administrative efficiency over the protection of citizens from state violence. This moment of perceived apathy intensified the debate, turning the focus from the exam scam itself to a broader question of who protects the public when law enforcement exceeds its authority. The ensuing media scrutiny and sustained public pressure eventually forced a change in the court's stance. Chief Justice Surya Kant took the rare step of holding a press conference to clarify his remarks, stating they were misrepresented and affirming that the court remains open to all citizens. Following this, the court officially agreed to hear a petition filed by MP Manoj Jha, which sought a formal investigation into the police's conduct. Political accountability followed. After weeks of protest and the growing controversy in the courts, the Union Education Minister resigned from his position. These specific developments, the minister's resignation and the court's public clarification, marked a shift in the case. The initial dismissal gave way to a formal legal review of the state's use of force. During the hearing on July 28th, the Supreme Court moved to explicitly define the legal boundaries of police power during demonstrations. The court ruled that if a protest is peaceful and lawful, it is a protected fundamental right the state cannot arbitrarily dissolve. Therefore, police cannot use force or initiate a lathi charge solely because citizens are exercising their right to protest. If excessive force is used, the court mandated it must be followed by an immediate, independent, and fair investigation to determine if the police overstepped. The ruling established a clear legal standard. Public order is not a valid excuse to suppress free expression through violence. The Supreme Court shifted its focus from the specific clashes in Delhi to a pattern of state overreach occurring across the entire country. The bench observed that violent confrontations between protesters and local police are a recurring crisis that spans multiple states. To illustrate the severity of the issue, the court noted extreme cases where local forces used live ammunition, including AK-47s, to manage protests in states like Bihar. Without a national standard, the right to protest is vulnerable to the different and sometimes lethal tactics of regional police departments. To address this, the Supreme Court directed the creation of a uniform national protocol for protest management. The goal is to establish standard operating procedures that prevent excessive force and ensure that the right to demonstrate is respected consistently across every state. The legal battle is still active. The viral videos that the court initially declined to see are now being formally processed as evidence for future hearings. The Supreme Court's directive underscores a core principle. While democratic systems require discipline, the law's priority remains the protection of free expression over the convenience of administrative order.